So, my wife and I were separated three times. Three times in the first 3 years of our marriage. In our third separation, we were separated 600 miles for 6 months with basically no contact during that time. And we are headed straight for a divorce. Well, hey guys, welcome back to My Marriage is Worth It, where I help husbands find hope and joy in dead, dying, and boring marriages. So, in this video, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our story, hoping that it'll inspire and encourage you in your story, wherever you might be right now. Because for us, there was absolutely no hope whatsoever. I won't go into all the gory details in this video, I'll cover those in future videos. But here I was in my third separation in 3 years. And I realized I must be pretty messed up. So my wife is from Michigan and I'm from Maryland. So I left her in Michigan and I went home to Maryland. And here I am about 5 months into this separation, which really wasn't a separation. To me, it was a divorce. I mean, we had tried this thing and we had failed. And, three times a charm, right? So I realized that this is just not good. And I also realized that I must be pretty messed up because we were separated and then we were together. We were separated and then we were together. And now we're separated again. And I realized that whether I ended up with her or someone else, I needed to take care of me. There was something inside of me that had broken through all of these separations and all of the trauma and anger and everything, the whole mess that we went through during that time. Now, we weren't believers when we met each other. We made a lot of mistakes. We did a lot of harm to each other during that time, and I really just didn't see a way out of this. I didn't see a way for us to heal our marriage or restore our marriage, and nobody else did either. I mean, everybody else was telling my wife, forget about it. It's over. It's not going to happen. So here I am in Maryland, and I realized that there's something broken in me and I needed help. Now, I couldn't afford a real counselor at the time, so I looked up a minister in the phone book. And I guess I should tell you, for those of you who don't know, I am a pastor. It says it right here on my cup. I've been a pastor for about 17 years now, and I'll talk about that too, how that all came to be in a little while. But I wasn't a pastor at the time. In fact, I didn't even know what that meant or anything about that whatsoever. All I knew or thought I knew was that if I found a minister, he would counsel me for free. So I looked up a minister in a phone book, and the Lord led me to this small church in Maryland, the Christian Church at Arnold in Arnold, Maryland, where I met this minister. His name was Clifford Smith. And Cliff said to me this. He said to me the words that would completely not just change my marriage, but change my entire life. He said, JR, he said, I'm not a marriage counselor, but I'll tell you this. Things will never be right this way between you and your wife until you get things right this way between you and God. Now, I had no idea what that meant because I was raised in what I like to call the house of good works. My mom always said to us that as long as we were good enough, we would go to heaven. And of course, I didn't know what that meant. So for me, that just meant as long as I didn't kill anybody. I guess that was my standard. Don't kill anybody, and you're good to go. Well, I didn't know what I didn't know, and Cliff said to me, he said, God wants to have a relationship with you, and I didn't know that He wanted to have a relationship with me. I instinctively kind of knew that there was a God. It made sense that there was a God, that there had to be a creator, but I didn't know He wanted to have a relationship with me. I didn't know that He cared about me in any way, shape, or form. I didn't know any of that. And Cliff took me through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, showing me how God wanted to have this relationship with me. So, and we could talk more about that in another video too, but to jump ahead, I got it. I saw it. I knew that there was a God, and I saw that Jesus was God and that He loved me So on September 18th, 1997, I surrendered my life over to him completely because I knew that in my hands, I was messing it up, royally messing it up. So I surrendered over to him, was baptized into him. And as I came out of the water, I just felt free. I just felt like all my burdens and all my sins had just kind of washed away. And I just felt free. But that's not the exciting part. I mean, that is exciting. Obviously, that's exciting. But little did I know, my wife was doing the same thing. She was in Michigan, in Midland, Michigan, and she looked up a minister in the phone book, and the Lord led her to a minister at Midland Christian Church in Midland, Michigan, to a minister named Gary Wackler. And Gary was telling Carrie, my wife Carrie, telling her the same things that Cliff was telling me, that God wanted to have a relationship with her. And 10 days later, my wife surrendered her life over to Jesus. And we have been perfect ever since. No, no. We'll talk about that too later. But something had changed. You see, before we were trying to do everything in our own power and our own strength. And it ended up in separation after separation after separation after separation. It ended up in anger and abuse and so much turmoil, so much trauma, so much pain, so many tears. There was no hope before Jesus. But once we gave our lives, I like to say it this way, we gave our lives to Jesus and he gave our marriage back to us. Now, our marriage didn't become, like I said, our marriage did not become perfect at that point, but we were no longer depending on ourselves to heal our marriage. We were trusting in God to be able to help us through that and show us the way. So we got a problem, right? Because I'm in Maryland and my wife is in Michigan. And God told me, I need you to go back to Michigan. And I said, Lord, why do you want me to go to Michigan? I got a new job here. I got a new church here. My family's here. I've had nothing but pain and hardship in Michigan. And her family, they can't stand me. So why do you want me to go there? And God said, well, because you were the one who left her. And yeah, her family doesn't like you. And there's a reason for that. And you need to go back and fix that. I got to tell you, that's been, a defining factor for me, not only in my marriage, but just in my life, being able to take responsibility. My wife, she has a lot of things that she had to take responsibility for. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in future videos as well. And I could put a lot of blame on her and I could put a lot of accusation on her. But the fact of the matter is, I was not innocent, and there was a lot of things that I needed to take care of and fix. And one of these was that I had deserted my wife, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And her family was done with me, and it made sense. I mean, right? I keep hurting their daughter. I keep hurting her. And God said, you need to go back and fix this. So I quit my job. Took my last paycheck and drove straight to Michigan, 10 hours straight to Michigan. And when I got to Michigan, I had no place to live. I had no job, and I had no friends and a whole lot of enemies. Like I said, Carrie's parents said I would never darken their doorstep again. So I got into Michigan and I went straight to a hotel. And I'll have to tell you later in another video again. I keep saying another video. It's my way of reeling you in so you keep watching these YouTube videos. But there's more to talk about this. But when I got into Michigan, I drove straight to a hotel and I stayed on my knees in prayer for 2 days. I mean, I walked out a little bit, but I was on my knees in prayer for 2 days. And at the end of 2 days, I had a place to live. And at the end of 3 days, I had a job. And I went to church with my wife, to her new church at Midland Christian Church, that Sunday. So I came in on a Tuesday, and that Sunday I went to church with her. And when I walked into Midland Christian Church, I was the deadbeat loser husband who had deserted his wife for the third time. 15 years later, I became the senior pastor of that church. I'm in chills now just talking about God is absolutely amazing. And I'm telling you this right now because I don't know where you are right now. I don't know what's going on in your marriage. I don't know. Maybe you're in the middle of a divorce, or maybe your wife has said she's never going to talk to you again. Maybe she's cheated on you. Maybe you've cheated on her. Maybe she hates your guts. Maybe you're not sure how you feel about her. Maybe her family hates you. I want you to know none of that matters. I mean, it matters. Obviously, it matters if people are hurt, but that does not dictate what is going to happen for you in your marriage. This might be the chapter that you're in right now, but God is not done writing the book. He's the one who has the final say. And in connection with you and what you decide to do, right? If you decide to walk away from your marriage or walk away and say it's over, it can't be fixed, it's done, then of course, God's not going to force you. He's not going to come in and make you, work for your marriage. But I want you to know that if you want to heal your marriage, if you want your marriage to be restored, God absolutely can do it. He can. And I don't care what else is going on in this situation right now. I don't care how many people have told you it's hopeless or it's helpless or that there's nothing we can do or there's nothing you can do. God created all of this out of nothing. He rose from the dead. He can certainly raise your marriage up from the ashes. I hope you know that, and I hope you believe that, because it's true. God loves you, and He wants to heal, and He wants to restore your marriage. Stick around this channel. I'm going to have somewhere here or here a video pretty soon talking about your next steps, talking about the next steps that we took. I came to Michigan and I walked through the doors. I was the deadbeat loser husband, and 15 years later, I became the senior pastor. Well, what happened in between that? How did we actually heal our marriage? How did we restore our marriage? What did that look like? What was the process that God took us through? I'm going to be talking about that, and that's going to be in one of these videos right here. So be looking for it, and I'll see you in the next one.